I might change my mind. Everybody's sleeping. Let's not waste any time. I know it's right. Walking, come on and see. Oh, I know that it's wrong. Leave you this way. There's no other way I can be with you. If only a phone would approve. Things like this, we don't have to do. Oh, damn, no one else. I'm gonna keep it to myself. I know it's late, walking away. Come on and steal. Oh, steal me. Yeah, yeah. They want to steal away. I know that it's wrong. Being you this way. There's no other way I can be with you. Oh, if only your phone would approve. Things like this, you and I would have to do. I think it's just one of those kind of Sundays. Happy Sunday, everybody. That beautiful, silk smooth voice, Chicago's own Dante Hall, with Still Away by, some of you may know, by Johnny Taylor. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here. It's been a minute since I've been here, and I want to thank everyone and say good evening and hello, and thank you for tuning in to Intellectual Radio, Voices of Change. I hope everyone's staying warm, and hey, if I have any family on here from Michigan City, let me know how you guys are doing. I was talking to people, and it's taking them 5 hours to dig out of their front yard, 6 hours. I could not even imagine being out there for 5 or 6 hours digging out. I remember when we were there and we had snows like that. Whatever happened to the little guys who run around and knock on your door and say, you know, can I shovel your yard for $10 or something? Well, maybe now it's probably $30, but do they still do that? Anyway, the good thing about it is that it is going to warm up. It's going to warm up, and then it's going to be probably a lot of flooding, but you know, it is what it is. We take the good with the bad. Today's show, Today's show, we're going to discuss what we are seeing and hearing on a daily basis, and it started since the new year and even a little bit before. More revelations, more revelations, more revelations, more people and actions being exposed, things done in the dark that are coming out in the light. You know, I think one of the pivotal interviews that kind of started this and started me thinking about it was Cat Williams with his interview, and he really ruffled feathers when he spoke with Shay Shay. And I'm going to discuss his interview and the content therein, and I'm sure that everyone has an opinion, and you're going to feel free to mention how you feel about it. I'll try to post as many responses as I can. Keep in mind for this show and any show, the views and opinions expressed today on Intellectual Radio Voices of Change does not reflect views of station management. This show is suggested for persons 17 years old and older. 17 years old and older. So if you have little babies, have them go in the room and watch Disney. I always start out with a scripture. For today, it's from John 3:20. And it says, everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. Again, it says, everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. And I think that's all of us. I mean, anytime we do something and maybe something that we shouldn't have done, we don't want that stuff exposed. So as I think about some of the things that are being revealed of recent, some of them are things that are kind of, not too good. So they definitely don't want it to be exposed. I think what's interesting and what kind of prompted me to do it, another reason, there's other reasons, but I don't think anyone sued Cat Williams yet, or any of some of the other people that are saying things. And everybody know, in this society, we litigate, litigate, litigate. You fall down the steps, you litigate. Anything that happens, you sue. So I think that's interesting. So I kind of called it the year of revelation. And I want all of you that are on right now to say hello, and I'm going to try to post as many as I can. Hello, Miriam. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hello, Nora, my long lost friend. We have been saying we're going to do lunch. We typically put things off too much. I think everyone does. We're going to get together, we're going to have lunch, we're going to have dinner. We're going to do that, Nora. I can't even say anytime soon because, I didn't think we were going to get a winter. I thought it would be warm all winter or maybe a little cold. But after last week, whoa, don't know. Miriam, tell me what you're wowing about, but okay. Hello, Romaine. How are you? Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Indy. So I'm going to keep going. And if you so inclined to send me a note, please do. I'll try to read it because I want this show to be interactive. As you can tell, I'm going solo today. Next week I will have a guest, but today I am going solo. So what do I mean by revelation? When you think about the dictionary, one of the definitions is a surprising and previously unknown fact, especially one that is made known in a dramatic way. And I think most of the revelations, there's so many coming out, they're made in a dramatic way. How Cat Williams, how he exposed Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Ricky Smiley, Diddy, Kevin Hart, Jonathan Majors, Michael Blackson, Tyler Perry, Ludacris, and Oprah Winfrey. Diddy's getting it from all ends. He's getting exposed for some possible involvement with Kim Porter, who is his baby's mama, demise, and Jamie Foxx's recent medical emergency, and the attempt to unalive Kid Cudi. Bashir Gray, and some of you may have known him from the hit series Empire. He was the youngest son. Allegedly, he also exposed Diddy for SA, and this has been told over and over again by Jaguar Wright. If any of you are listening to social media, Jaguar Wright has been on there a long time, jumping up and down, talking about Diddy is a devil. So even Jody Watley, she's kind of quiet. You don't hear much about her since she left Shalimar. She's even exposing her group for false allegations. Kelly Price. The gospel genre is not immune to this, is exposing pastors and gospel artists. T.D. Jakes. Again, this isn't the views of station management or even myself, perhaps, until it's definitive. But T.D. Jakes was exposed for attending Diddy's parties and leading an alternate lifestyle. Christian Keys. Now, everybody know that fine man. Christian Keys had a recent revelation about a billionaire Black producer, and there's not too many, so it's not hard to isolate and figure out who it is, and sexual assault. So that's what we're going to talk about. Some of the things that we're going to talk about. Before we get into that, I'm going to do the five news stories. And before that, I have to give you your kudos since you're going to be doing the show with me today and reading some of your comments. Let's see. It says, wow, Cat hasn't been sued. No. That's what I found really interesting. But then you know what he said when he was sitting up there interviewing. He said, you know what? I have receipts for everybody. So, okay, everyone can read it. Yeah, everyone does say that. They say, I don't know. Sometimes when you hear it all the time, it makes you wonder. And I know he is being checked out by authorities. He hasn't had any arrests yet, but if half that stuff is true, he makes R. Kelly look pretty tame, huh? Here we go with the news you can use. The shooting has left 4 people dead in suburban Tinley Park Sunday morning, officials say. According to public safety officials in Tinley Park, Illinois, the shooting was reported this morning in the 7400 block of 173rd Place. At least 4 people were shot in the incident, and all 4 have been pronounced dead. A suspect is in custody in connection with the shooting, and the scene is secure at this time. 4 people. That's a mass murder, I guess. The Palestinian death toll from the war between Israel and Hamas has soared past 25,000. While the Israeli government appeared far from achieving its goals of crushing the militant group and freeing more than 100 hostages, the level of death, destruction, and displacement from the war already is without precedent in the decade-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Yet, Israeli officials say the fighting is likely to continue for several more months. Israel will pursue its war against Hamas until victory is done and will not be stopped by anyone, including the World Court, according to Netanyahu. Donald Trump is leading as he goes into the Tuesday New Hampshire primary. His lead over Haley is now in the double digits. So I guess it's probably just him and Haley now in the double digits. Looks like it's going to be a slam dunk. On the Democratic front, Biden is courting the black vote for the South Carolina Democratic primary in February, which is next month. Looks like it. Are we going to see a Trump-Biden race again? North Korea stresses alignment with Russia against the U.S. and says Putin could visit at an early date. Allies, Russia and North Korea. Also, Russia and China is forging an alliance. China has just made Russia its largest oil supplier. Now imagine that. Russia, North Korea, and China. Wow, what a force. Marlena Shaw, the soul and jazz vocalist known for her hits California Soul and Woman of the Ghetto, has died. She was 81. Shaw's daughter, Marla Bradshaw, shared the news Friday in a video post on Facebook. The cause of death has not been revealed. Shaw rose to prominence after signing with Chess Records in 1966. She released 2 albums with the music label subsidiary Cadet Records. The 2 records are out of a different bag, and the 1969, The Spice of Life, which featured the popular track, California Soul and Woman of the Ghetto. California Soul, which was written by Ashford and Simpson, was heavily sampled by other artists and appeared in multiple TV commercials. My favorite, I'm going to just give you just a little bitty touch of it. It's not Marlena Shaw. So those StreamYard and Facebook people that are listening, thinking I'm playing original music, I'm not. It's just a person singing it. But my favorite Marlena Shaw song was a song that was made probably in the very, very late 70s, I think. And it was called Go Away Little Boy. This lady who I'm going to play just a snippet of it, singing it, is not Marlena Shaw, but she does a good job, and she does it her way. Take a listen. That phrasing, man, yeah, kind of reminds me of, oh, you can't hear it? Oh, anyway, Marlena Shaw, Go Away Little Boy, the lady who I just played, she was singing it, and she kind of captured her essence in her own ways. She wasn't Marlena Shaw, but Marlena was really good at that phrasing and singing those scatting with the jazz. Anyway, she was fabulous. So she will be missed. And that's a quick news you can use. So now we're going to talk about some of the revelations and the things coming to light. And I got to do a disclaimer again because I don't want anyone to think that because I'm on Intellectual Radio or Voices of Change that this is my opinion. These are just opinions that I am reporting that are widespread through all major outlets. The views and opinions expressed today on Intellectual Radio, Voices of Change, does not reflect views of station management. Again, the show is suggested for persons 17 years and older. Makiba, why are you calling me? Yeah, I used to try to sing that. Yeah, I did. That I used to love that song. I didn't know the other ones they were talking about, but that one, man, what she was doing with her vocals. Oof. Anyway, yes. Thank you, Makiba, for reminding me. Makiba is a baby of our family. Out of 10, she is the baby. So there you go for some, background. Okay, so Cat Williams' extensive interview on Shannon Sharpe's Club Shay Shay podcast has everyone talking and wondering. The comedy legend's almost 3-hour chat with Sharpie sees him take aim at countless people across both Hollywood and the music industry, whether it's his distrust of Diddy's party invitations or Cedric the Entertainer's allegedly stealing his stand-up material. Williams had plenty to say about those he didn't like and those who wronged him in the past. And this is one of the reasons why he actually did this interview, because at one time or another, Shay had interviewed most of the people that he mentioned, and they said things that were not quite true. So, people feel like, if you want to get on an interview, we all want to make ourselves look good, but, giving your own self shine, you don't want to damage anyone else. And that's what he was saying. They were telling half-truths. The reason why I decided to discuss this is because as I watched the interview, I was intrigued with Cat, particularly his character. Beyond his success in entertainment, Cat Williams is involved in philanthropy. He has supported various charitable organizations, including Make-A-Wish and the American Cancer Society. Williams understands giving back to the community and uplifting people, and has used his platform to make a positive impact on the lives of others. Melba Moore recently, he sponsored her star on the Walk of Fame. And Boosie, when he was at his lowest point, he gave him money, no strings attached, to help him and his family. During the interview, he talked about his relationship with God. Yeah, he talked about his relationship with God and how God positions us to help others. He mentioned how he's from a strict Jehovah's Witness family, and he left home pretty early because he felt he couldn't abide by those rules. But God was still instilled in him, and it was laced throughout the interview. Now, I know, don't get me wrong, anyone can say that they're God-fearing and they believe in God and blah, 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 blah. But as I watched the interview, in my opinion, he was sincere, and I believed him. First, he talked about Steve Harvey. Ooh, Steve Harvey. Okay. Now, we've heard many things about Steve Harvey, good and bad, whatever. But Williams insinuated that Steve Harvey plagiarized Mark Curry a long time ago, I think in the 80s, had a show called Mark Cooper, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And so Hanging with Mr. Cooper was a show on its own. So Steve, that he went to go watch Mark Curry do his whole sitcom, and then, according to Cat, he stole everything Mark Curry had. He told Shay Shay, now Steve got a sitcom where now he's the principal and he wears a suit. And then he gets his high top fade. And then Cat, okay, he's a comedian. So he had to make some of this comical. He said, making all black men think he's got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit. Well, first I thought, that boy didn't have a man unit on. He doesn't have hair now because, as you age, you lose your hair. So he doesn't have hair. But people did say that back in the day, he did have a man unit on, which is okay, but it is what it is. As I'm looking at some of these stories, I'm trying to look at them from the perspective of both. Now, him going in there stealing or taking the idea from Mark Curry, and making it work for him, and him having a long-running sitcom doing the same thing. I mean, no one wants to feel like their stuff got stolen, but not only did you take my stuff, now you're getting rich off of it, okay? Well, he didn't get rich off of it, but, it positioned him to where he's at now. He also asserted that Harvey would never make it as a movie star, which is why he sticks to hosting Family Feud and sitcoms. Then he said, Shay Shay, when he interviewed Harvey, he asked him, why are you not a movie star? And he said that Harvey replied that he didn't want to be a movie star. And then Williams, he's a comedian, so he was mimicking Harvey. And he said, this is the same Negro that hated on Bernie Mac with this same thing. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them is asking for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. That's why he's not a movie star. Okay, keep in mind, Cedric is an entertainer. Not Cedric, I'm sorry. Cat is an entertainer. He's a comedian. And that's probably why he kind of made a little joke. But some of what he's saying is kind of true, I guess. So, anyway, whatever. The next one he talked about was Cedric the Entertainer. I don't think he liked him at all. I mean, what he said about Steve Harvey wasn't so bad. And since that, I've heard other negative things about Steve Harvey. Other people are coming out and exposing Steve Harvey, even when he left Chicago and how he left and how he treated his staff. Even Monique, and we may get to her. She and other people are saying things about Steve Harvey. So even some of the people who he used to work with on the sitcom. But Kat goes on to talk about Cedric the Entertainer and said that when it comes to Cedric the Entertainer, he's described as a walrus and a plagiarist. Cedric told you when you ask him, he's talking to Shay Shay. And again, a lot of this is in response to when Shay Shay interviewed these people and Kat's allegedly making the record clear. He said, did you steal Cat Williams' joke? And Cedric told him, it doesn't line up. And Cat told Shay Shay, what do you mean it doesn't line up? Cat said, I did on TV in 2018. He came to see the comedy show in 2019, and then he did it on the Kings of Comedy. What doesn't line up about that? Well, of course, not to justify what he did, but he's being interviewed by Shay Shay, and he's point blank asking him, did you steal Cat Williams' joke? So, I mean, I doubt very much if he would just get on there and say, yeah, I stole his joke. He should have just probably laughed it off instead of making up this other story. But, sometimes people can kind of make you lie or encourage you to lie, or you're in a spot and you're lying, and sometimes people just lie. So that one, what's bad about it is, number one, I guess he stole it. I don't know. This is what I liked about Cat Williams too. I've never been really fond of comedy. I've only been to one comedy show in my life, and that was Kings of Comedy, because my sisters in Indianapolis forced me to go. I always felt like comedians went too far. They joked about things that should be off limits. And at one point, I don't hear much of that now, but at one point there was nothing off limits, and they would so I was never one to really like comedy. Well, Cat Williams has changed that. And when he comes to the area in April, I think he'll be in Indianapolis. I'll be there. After going on to accuse a comedian of joke theft, he redirected his attention to Steve Harvey, circling back to Cedric. He called him a walrus who isn't multi-talented, failing to live up to his name, entertainer. Cat said he found out he can't sing, he can't dance, and he doesn't write jokes. Anyway, so that's kind of what he said about him. Now, we have someone commenting about Cedric is lying. Yeah, he is. See, the thing about dealing with someone like Cat Williams is extremely smart. He had a scholarship for college before he got out of 8th grade. I think he has an IQ of 163, and he was in the smart kids group. Him leaving home because he didn't want to be under the authority of his parents' religious beliefs was something else. But as far as intellect, when he was during the interview, he talked about reading, I don't know, I forgot how many books. When I was trying to do the math, I'm like, how does somebody sit up and read that many books a year? But he reads extensively. He's a smart guy. So when he says he has receipts, I'm sure he does. Rickey Smiley. I didn't think he said anything too bad about Rickey Smiley. Williams described radio personality Rickey Smiley as a liar over his claim. These guys have these beefs, that he was supposed to play Money Mike in the 2002 film Friday After Next, a role that Cat Williams played. Smiley, meanwhile, played a Santa Claus robber. But Rickey Smiley claimed that he was supposed to take that role instead of Williams. Williams asserted that Smiley, Cedric, and Harvey allied against him. The way that Rickey Smiley kept appearing at all my auditions is because of Steven said. He would tell anybody that listened, they got a gang on that side. They know what it is, he added. So I guess his whole beef was, why did Rickey get on there and say that, in essence, saying that Cat kind of took his role. He said he didn't take his role. That didn't happen. So, who knows? Only those guys know. Did he? At one point, the comedian said he walked away from 50 million offers 4 times throughout his career in order to protect his integrity. Again, as I stated earlier, this show is not intended for anyone under 17 years of age. So he said he walked away from $50 million offers 4 times throughout his career. $200 million, quarter of it. Anyway, which then shifted him to criticizing Diddy, who's been sued by 4 women over allegations of sexual assault, including his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. Williams said, just to protect my integrity in that virgin hole I was telling you about, because Diddy want to party, and you just got to straight out tell him no. He said, you got to tell him no. You got to enforce that no. Then he said he got receipts for everything he's telling you, and we're sure he does. Cat continued, earlier in the interview, he prided himself on getting this far in Hollywood and still being a virgin and never doing something to a man part. So I guess, this kind of stuck with me because you always think when your daughters go out, particularly like in modeling or in entertainment, that things like that will happen to them. I remember when they had the Marilyn Monroe show. It was it was a movie about her. And one of her first interviews before she broke into the business, she met with this big time producer, and he was supposed to be talking to her about a possible role. And in the show, all he did was bend her over. He did what he did. She left and she got the role. I guess you don't think that it happens, and it's so prevalent when it comes to little boys, but it is. It's just as prevalent. So this, I think, is what he's highlighting. And perhaps what his interview was intended to do was to kind of forewarn those that are thinking about going into the entertainment business to be aware and be woke and know what you may be getting into so you can avoid it. Talks about Kevin Hart. He said Williams believed Kevin Hart might be an industry plant because of how successful he's been throughout his career. He said, in 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart. He already had deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to LA and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before. What do you think a plant is? Then he went on to say he thinks he's a plant. He said that he hated to come across as a petty individual for picking apart lies, but he wanted to set the record straight. Williams later added, for a 5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk. He said, they came to him and asked him, do you want to do this role? And he may say, well, could I not wear a dress? And they'll go, okay. Then they never call him back. And they'll call Kevin Hart. Or there'll be something in it that he thought, well, can you not do that? And they'll go, okay. And then they'll give it to someone else. Well, I guess to put some perspective to it, I'm glad that he's a man of integrity. And I'm glad that there's certain things, there's line drawings that he won't do. But I know when someone produces something and or writes something, if you have someone that's going to be in it, when they talk about changing your stuff, it gets personal. Now, the agenda in Hollywood is a wee bit different than an independent writer or independent producer or someone independently doing films or theater. Their agenda is to kind of set the tone and change mindsets. That's why, for the most part, they have us looking the way that they do in the media. So I'm glad that there are people like Cat Williams that'll say no. But on the other hand, on the flip side, being on the other side, I know when you write something, when you put your blood, sweat, and tears in it, and it's finally coming to production, and someone tell you how they want to change it, you look at them like, yeah, okay. So just to give a different perspective, Jonathan Majors. Come on, give me some feedback. I want to hear someone say something. Anybody know Jonathan Majors? He talked about Jonathan Majors, but not bad. He just said, because the interview, Shesha asked him, what was his thoughts on the downfall of Creed 3 actor Jonathan Majors? Because this man's losing everything. I think he's lost all of his roles now. And he was found guilty of assault and harassment in a domestic violence trial. So Kat said, he said, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I thought Cat Williams said, anytime they make you into that position, part of that contract is that you understand whenever we put you up, well, we can take you down. First of all, he said they went around the world for 2 years straight telling any woman that would listen that this was a fine-looking Negro. Since when? Again, he's a comedian. So he says, since when did y'all like a big nose, little head, big jaw Negro? Since when? Then Kat says, if this ugly end is a good-looking blank, then all ends are good-looking. He suggested that Major's domestic violence allegation means he's been canceled so bad he won't even be allowed to read a comic book. And I think that's about where we're at. And he also talked about, when he talked about Majors, why he's afraid of white women. He said, I like all women. All women are beautiful. I don't think any are more beautiful, but all of them are equally beautiful. He said, but a white woman can take you down. And again, his comedic part came out, and that's why Jonathan Majors is running down the street. But even though that was comedic, he has a point with that. He has a point with that because of perceptions. They do have the power if you're in a relationship and the relationship goes bad and they make allegations, they can take you down, particularly if you're in a position like he is. But then, just like he said too, when they put you up real quick, they can take you down. They have the authority to do that. And Makeba, he has anger issues. You think, Makeba? I wish you could elaborate on that. Okay, so we're gonna just take a minute because I don't know about him having anger issues. So, Makeba, I want you to think about that and write me something and tell me, how do you think he has anger issues? I'm going to only wait just a few minutes because maybe you're getting shy, or maybe you're in the middle of cooking or eating your dinner. In the meantime, I am going to, since we're talking about him and Kat kept saying he's ugly, I'm going to play something a little beautiful until you think about your thoughts. If you don't have anything when I come back, I'll continue with the show. If I gave you my love, I tell you what I do. I expect a whole lot of love from you. You got to treat me good. I'll be good to you. There's a whole lot of things you and I could do, baby. Okay, someone thinks he's beautiful, I'm sure. Oh, really? Okay. Hmm. Okay. Well, that's something I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay. Thank you for that insight. I had no idea he had daddy issues. Because a lot of times, the reason why I was asking about that, because a lot of times people think big guys, tall guys, have anger issues because they're big. And seems like he's a tall guy. So the next one Kat went into was Michael Blackson. Again, because I don't know much about comedy, I don't know much about Michael Blackson. I think I've seen him on movies or something, but when Williams was asked if he's ever been booed during a stand-up performance, he confirmed that he has, but shared his belief that some comedians should get booed more and used Michael Blackson as an example. So I guess he's saying Michael Blackson's stuff ain't that good, so he should get booed more, and he doesn't. As a comedian, the audience's opinion is the only opinion that matters. Not you, the writer, none of that. I don't think any comedian has ever been booed unnecessarily either. That's supposed to be used as a learning experience. Most comedians don't get booed enough. I mean, this is how you end up with Michael Blackson. So he's saying if he would have got booed more, he would be a better comedian. Well, I get that. I get that. When your audience isn't happy with you, it does make you up your game. So I do get that. He continued that this guy's mad at me. Oh, okay. I'm going to look at that. This guy's mad at me. All I did was give him the best advice of his life. Remember, he was wearing those dirty dashikis. And I told him that he needs to level up. If he's supposed to be an African queen, an African king, you have to look the part. And he did, but then I guess he got mad at me. So that little whatever, that's not even, that's whatever. That's not much to even talk about. And I don't even know why he would be mad about that. But, people feel like if your name is in my mouth and if it isn't something positive, I'm going to be ticked off. So I get it. Tyler Perry. Woo. When talking about Ricky Smiley, he said he wouldn't work again unless he played a character wearing a dress. So Kat said he won't play with Ricky Smiley unless Ricky Smiley has a dress on. And then he said, him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women. And I believe that the best actor should be in the best role. So he says, Perry, who's played the divisive comedy character Ma Dear in 13 movies, including one animated feature, got a mention later in the interview. He said, we put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. He said the people that have been in his productions, they're not even famous. They can walk through the mall and nobody would even stop them. But he's just saying that he should really be pushing his people and elevating them more. And he says that it's kind of double talk because on one hand, he said we're putting too much pressure on him. On the other hand, he's saying that he's not doing enough for them. So, what do you do? Well, we're going to talk about Tyler later because Tyler is, there has been things about Tyler that has come to light. Now, Makiba was fortunate enough to send me something to give me some insight on Jonathan Majors. And it said Jonathan Majors opens up about anger towards his father who abandoned him, his relationship with his daughter, the book of poetry he's writing, and why he doesn't think he's made it yet. So he has anger issues because he still harbors many things in his past, including the dad that left me and the acting teacher who thought I was SHIT. Okay. So, I don't know. That's why I'm an advocate for counseling. Thanks, Makiba. I'm an advocate for counseling, and I think people should have counseling. I think people should. Sometimes we all need somebody to talk to. And if he's talking about something that his dad did by leaving him or whatever, or that his teacher did by making him feel like crap, and this is translated, he's 30 some years old now, and now he's angry. I don't know. That's why we should have counseling. That's why I'm an advocate of that. What Williams said about Ludacris, he said that him and Ludacris, he said Ludacris was part of the Illuminati. He said there was a crossroad where we were both invited to an Illuminati thing, and it had to be one or the other of us, and decisions had to be made. So it was both of us. So because we were equal, so we both went. So one of us had to cut off all their hair and couldn't do the sideburn thing no more. No sideburns, cut your hair off. And the next person they said was going to get, and next, the person, they said that this person's going to get $200 million because they were going to pay him $10 million a movie to do 20 million, to do 20 movies. So they're going to give him $200 million and pay him $10 million a movie and have him do 20 movies, $200 million. And that's how the conversation happened. So he said one of those persons turned out to be Ludacris, and the other person turned out to be Katt Williams. He went on to insult Ludacris and some of the other people who he didn't like, and said they have all light-skinned, funny-faced wives. And Ludacris was obviously ticked off about this. Number one, because he said he was part of the Illuminati. Well, if it was just him and Ludacris, then yeah, he's the one who cut his hair and cut his sideburns and cut everything off. So if that were to be true, then that's what he's saying, and that's why Ludacris is ticked off. And I guess one would understand that. Okay, so other allegations that have came out about Diddy, he is just like, wow. He's believed to have tried to unlive Jamie Foxx because, you know, these little, what do they call them, freak off parties? Jamie would go to them all the time. And, you know, I don't know about participation or anything like that, but Jamie would go to him and he'd have video cam. So he would video different aspects of it. You know, he was videoing all the footage, but he was going, so he was enjoying it too, I guess. Or maybe not, maybe just doing the video thing. So he was videoing everything. And then Jamie got tired of attending these parties, these freak off parties. And I don't know if he wanted the footage back or wanted him to destroy the footage, but this is what's alleged. Another allegation that is supposed to be brought to light was that Diddy's accused of he's accused of unliving his baby mama, not directly doing it, but having it set up. And everyone knows that Kim Porter was going to write a book, a tell-all book on her life with Diddy. She never finished it. I don't know if she finished it, but you know, you can't even find the script of it. Everyone's like, well, where's the book at? No one knows. Bashir Gray, I mentioned him earlier from Empire. He's allegedly suing him. And the young lady who did sue him, who he paid off like the day after, Cassie, her old boyfriend, Kid Cudi, they said he had something to do with that, where there was an attempt on his life. So, you know, all these things are coming. All these things are being revealed. All these revelations. And this is like the first week in January, and all this stuff is coming out. But the gospel genre isn't immune to it, because Kelly Price exposes pastors and the host of Sunday's Best. She said when she went on tour, gospel tours, you know, when they go to different cities, she said she was with pastors and pedophiles. When she was one of the hosts of 3 on Sunday Best, she said they were child molesters and cheaters. Apparently someone came after her, maybe because, I don't know, maybe she said something or maybe whatever, that came after her and said she needs to be delivered. And her response was, again, this is only for those 17 and over. Her response was, then come deliver me. The nerve you have. I was the only artist judge on Sunday's Best that wasn't effing someone else's spouse, fornicating or messing with kids and boys. But you have smoke for me, you ignorant, church-going, brain-dead a-hole. So she has some colorful words. So anyway, yeah, but so the gospel industry is not immune. Speaking of the gospel industry, this is heartbreaking for me, and I'm hoping, I mean, I don't know if any of this is true. Nobody knows but the people involved. T.D. Jakes. Bishop T.D. Jakes is an influential and visionary spiritual leader. He's a founder and senior pastor of the Potter's House. So everyone knows that there's been all kind of pictures and shots of him at Diddy's party. I mean, you know, I've even seen several shots of him on the yard, you know, hugging Diddy or talking to him or whatever. So it has been allegedly revealed that it accuses him of being a frequent participant at these sex parties hosted by Diddy, and also says about his sexuality. He has a family and a wife. Well, his response is what got people, his response is what got people. Because you know how when the church questions it, because it's everywhere, it's on all the media, it's everywhere. So church is going to question, Pastor, what's going on? His response was, if everything was true, all I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart. You see, all I got to do is step over top of it and keep on going. I'm not in trouble. I'm talking about the power of the blood. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. I have used it and I will use it again. But I ain't got to use it for that. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Whenever I need it, it's available to me and it's available to you. And you can have it when you need it. But you don't have to plead the blood if you didn't do the crime. And I think a lot of people they felt a certain way by this. I guess because how it started out, if everything was true, all I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart. So anyway, that's that. We don't know yet if that is true. I don't know how we're going to find out if that's true unless somebody pull out tapes. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Let's talk about our favorite, the lady in purple, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey. Ooh, there was a lot of stuff spilled on her too. And lately it's just been more and more and more. Rose McGowan, the actress, called out Oprah and says she is the shadiest person in Hollywood. Many say she has a pattern of disrespecting achievement of blacks on screen. Monique's career was derailed, she said, by Oprah. And she said, all I seek is a simple apology. Now, everybody remember when Monique was in Precious, okay? And there was a rift that emerged when Oprah wanted her to promote the show to go internationally, but without compensation. So Monique is like, look, I got a family, I got these twins, and no, I can't do it without money. So they were friends, or so they thought they were friends. They were friends, and Monique told her in confidence, like you would a friend. She told her that growing up, I had a rough life, of course. My brother did things to me that I'd rather not mention. Me and my mom don't get along, stuff like that. I mean, stuff that you would tell someone that you don't want to hear again. And being that Oprah had a past that was somewhat similar, figuring that she could understand it. So when she featured Monique on her show, her brother, her mom and dad, and another brother was on the show. Monique was shook. I mean, these are the people she told her she don't get along with. Her brother did things to her, whatever. And Monique felt a certain way. And as they were on the show, they were minimizing what happened to Monique when she was a young girl at home. So ultimately, she said that what Oprah tried to do was pretend to be her friend and use that and self-promote herself, regardless of how it impacted Monique. Okay, and you have many people who do that. They befriend you. They find out things that may be weaknesses, or find out things that may expose you. And they do it at a time to lift themselves up. That to me is dirty, but that's what was allegedly done. Well, that was done. That was done. Also, 50 Cent called Oprah an Oreo. He said she prioritizes whites and cater to middle-aged white women, and she's turned into a middle-aged white woman. Now I don't know how Black Oprah can do that, but okay. Ludacris in the early 2000s appeared on Oprah. He felt the sting. At that time, he was promoting a movie he was in. I think it was Crash. But during the interview, they didn't talk about Crash at all. If you remember, back in the day, Oprah never had rappers and stuff on her show. So when she had him on there, it was a platform to just grill him and make him look bad. So she was questioning why he used the N-word so much in his music. And that's where the interview went. So he didn't feel good about that either. That was it. And of course, he'd never been on there again. Seal questioned her friendship with Harvey Weinstein. And that's one of the reasons why the actress Rose McGowan said she's as fake as they come. That's one of the reasons, because of her friendship with Harvey Weinstein, in spite of her background. Toni Braxton, many of you can remember this one. Toni Braxton was on Oprah after she filed bankruptcy. She was at a pretty bad time. She had filed bankruptcy, and she was trying to come back. And Oprah had her on the show. And she was on the show, and as a guest, Oprah was grilling her and making her feel bad, and told her that I heard you had Gucci flatware, and I don't even have Gucci flatware. And she said she left there feeling like crap. So, these are just incidences of when she did things that appear to be self-serving. Jody Watley. Now, Jody Watley is pretty quiet. She used to be with a group called Shalamar back in the 90s. And recently, Shalamar, when they go on their tour, when they do shows, they always mention Jody Watley, because people ask about, Jody Watley was a Soul Train dancer. So Jody Watley recently got tired of them doing that and exposed Shalamar for lying on why the group broke up. She said they're lying on stage and telling audiences the same lie, and she just wants them to keep her name out of their mouth. They're telling people that they wanted Jody Watley back in Shalamar, and they called her and asked her so many times, and she turned it down. And she said that didn't happen. Dick Griffey, daughter, replaced Jody Watley. So she's just tired of them falsely accusing her of not wanting to come back. She says, because all that does is make her look bad. And that's what they're trying to do. So she got a problem with that, obviously. And I think the last one I have on here, let's see if I got questions. No questions yet. Okay. Woo. The last one. This one is kind of a big question mark. Everybody know that fine man. Let me see. Okay. Everybody know that fine guy who plays on All the Queen's Men. If you don't watch that, he's also been on some of Tyler Perry shows. His name is Christian Keys. Christian Keys. And he recently broke his silence about years of alleged sexual harassment from a powerful Black billionaire in Hollywood. He said he tried to climb in bed with him and offered him what? $100,000 to take his clothes off. The actor spoke his difficult truth in an hour-long Instagram live and was having little snippets after that. And this happened, I started seeing him shortly after the first. He's revealed that he's resigned to taking the scenic route in his career after turning down alleged offers to take his clothes off for money or return to a private residence after auditioning from a role. So they're treating men like women now. After he auditions for a role, they say, well, you can come back to my house for a couple of drinks and talk about it. You know what that means. He said, I didn't sell my soul or my A for success, he confessed. Keys hopes people will believe him when he names a shady and predatory beloved public figure. He claims to have recordings and receipts of the misconduct dating back 20 years. Okay, so it's not too hard to figure out who may have done that. But what the interesting thing is, there's been crickets from Christian Keys. Now, just like Diddy paid his ex off within a day, it sounds like, and now this is rumor. Rumor is he got paid a real pretty penny. And now, he never did name the person. We were just, you can kind of figure it out. How many billionaire Black producers and film types do we have in the U.S.? But he never did say his name. And it's alleged that he got paid off, and that's why it's crickets and you're not hearing anything. So that is, in a nutshell, some of the things that have been revealed this year, or maybe late last year, this year. And that's why it appears that things that were in the dark are coming to light. People are exposing more. I don't know what's going on. There used to be a time when, people have always done things that were bad. People have always, said things bad, done things bad, treated people bad. But normally, you're on a track and you want to get where you're going. So you don't want to shake things up. So you don't say anything. But now people are talking. People are saying things. I don't know if this is going to be a trend that is just a January 2024 thing, or if this is going to continue. Because it almost seems like once a can of worms is open, then people jump on the bandwagon. Yeah, they did that to me. They did that to me. They did that to me. Well, that was the last one I had for the day. There's so many other little things, but, I know you're tired of hearing me talking. I'm tired of talking. And I am sipping tea. So that is my show for this evening. Next week, I will be back with Khalid Scott. We are going to talk again. Not sure what the topic of discussion. If you have anything in the future that you would like us to talk about, again, he's a family therapist and he talks about all kinds of things. So, sip tea, yeah. um, he'll be on with me next week, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule on this Sunday to join me on Intellectual Radio Voices of Change. I'll be back next week, same time, 6 p.m. on Facebook Live. I want to thank you again and hope to see you next week. Tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell your girlfriend, have them listen in. And I love the interaction. I love when we can dialogue and talk. For the next week, you guys keep warm. I didn't see it in my Michigan City people here, so I guess they're still shoveling out the snow. So you guys keep warm and have a blessed week. Hey, and Makiba, I love those hearts. Give me some more hearts. I love the hearts. Let's see, because this is for you guys. Mighty Love. I got 3 more minutes and I will play the Mighty Love. Yeah. As you can see, I love music. It's the soundtracks of your life, and I love music, and hope you do too. You guys have a good week. Signing off. Once there was a boy and girl. The boy said, I love you so.